Okay, baby Keara, right?
Oh, Vienna. Too cute.
1st of January 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. It was very like sudden, abrupt. It's like on the last day of 2015, I was still like eating meat and everything, and then the very next day I was like, okay, vegan. And everyone thought I wasn't gonna like survive, like not survive, but like stay with it. And I think I proved it wrong. I'm very stubborn like that.
Hello, my name is Keara. I am 20 years old and I'm currently in my first year at Stellenbosch University. I'm studying BCom Investment Management. I took a gap year last year and I worked as a waitress, and I also finished my last year of ballet, which is something I was pretty much doing, I think, my whole life. And I don't know, I feel like I'm not doing it anymore just because kind of got tired of it after a while. I feel like if you do something, it doesn't happen to everybody, but for me, I feel like I just kind of, you know, did it my whole life. I was a bit over it. I grew up with two brothers, so that's made me a little bit tomboyish, competitive. Like, I had a stage of doing a little bit of martial art, and then I got into archery. I still have my bow here, rock climbing, that kind of stuff, which is cool. Like I quite like being adventurous and doing those kinds of things. Then other things, I like to read a lot. When I was younger, I used to read a lot. I don't get time for it as much as I would like to these days because, you know, studying takes up most of my time. I brought all my books with me from Pretoria and definitely hoping to find more time for it in the future. I'm the type of person that can read the same book over and over again. It feels like going back to an old friend. I try to like read this, like the really nice ones that I really like once a year maybe. Like I wait until it feels like it's been long enough to since I read it, and then I do it again. And another thing about me is that kind of on the artistic side, when I was younger, I was very creative and do like different stages in my life where I would like be drawing a lot and then I'd stop again and then I'd start drawing a lot again, and I'm getting back into it now. It's especially important to me because my mom was an artist. I really like that side of me. Also, if it sounds like I'm speaking with a weird accent, it's because I lived in America for like 2 years when I was younger, and I've gotten a lot of flack from people who are like, why do you have an accent if you only lived there for like 2 years? But it's because I was young when I was there, and when I came back to South Africa I was like, I don't really know how to speak anymore, so I just stuck with what I had. And before we went to America, I was raised in like a very small town, like very small, like Mayerton, I don't even, somewhere in Gauteng. I'm not gonna try and explain where it is. And then after America, we came back to Pretoria, and that's where like I went to high school, so it's like where most of my like major life events happened. And now I'm in Stellenbosch.
So one of my most loved items is my speaker, just because I really like listening to music all the time. Blast it really loudly, annoy the neighbors, that kind of thing. I almost like listen to music too much. You know, when you leave the house and you forgot your earphones, it's like, damn, I'm gonna be stuck with my thoughts now. You know, kind of thing. So yeah, I listen to music when I study, when I'm in the shower, when I'm cooking. It's just a big part of my life, let's say. And then one of my favorite items is this. It's an electric skateboard, which I got recently, so it's pretty bold of me to say that it's one of my favorite items, but I'm predicting that I'm going to be using it a lot. You know, Studies is a great place to use an electric skateboard to get around. And you know, I spent a bit of money on it, so I'm hoping it's a worthwhile investment. This is actually a friend of mine. He's bringing these in to South Africa. As far as I understand, there's not a big electric skateboarding scene in South Africa. So it's very exciting. It's not just like something I bought, it's also like supporting someone's business idea. So I think that's really cool. And I'm hoping a lot more people in Studies start using electric skateboards. So yeah, that's it. And then lastly, one of my most loved things is just this bonsai. It's next to my bed. Just because, you know, I love having a plant in my room. It's like, it brings something else to the room, and this is also very sentimental because my mom gave it to me. I just like, you know, having something living, and I'm sure it's helping me out by giving me that little extra bit of oxygen that I probably could do with. So my art, I've had an interesting journey with that. I've always been very arty, and I think that actually I have two brothers and one older, one younger, and all of us are pretty arty. And that comes from the fact that my mom was an artist, and I think, you know, if you grow up and your mom has this studio where she's always painting, and you know, when you're at home for most of the day when you're younger and you're bored, and you it's like, Mom, I'm bored, you know, what do I do? And then she gives you a piece of paper and a pencil. I think that's where it came from, and maybe also a little bit of like, I want to be like my mom and draw. She paints more than she draws, but I've always I like painting, but I think I have a special like love for drawing, and it's been on and off over the years. It's not like I'm constantly drawing. I go through phases where sometimes I never have time for it, I never get to it, and it's frustrating. Like, I love drawing, but it's not this like, just draw something and it's this beautiful release. It's like you're fighting with this artwork to be what you want it to be. But then the end product is so much better because it's like a battle that you've won or something. These were all done in a short space of time. Like I said, I go through phases. So earlier this year I got very creative and just over a couple of days did these. Some of them are sketches, and some of them are like ink painting / permanent marker. So yeah, I'm hoping, I really want to carry on with the drawing thing, especially now, because it brings me, I don't know, it's just a way to, one of the ways to maintain the connection to my mom has become very important to me. And also I want to keep that creative side of myself. I'm busy studying a degree that's anything but creative, and
it's important to me to stay in touch with that side of myself, because that's who I am. Like, I'm this weird creative girl who reads and I don't want to lose that. I want to keep that in some way. So yeah, this Coca-Cola painting is actually painted by my mom, but again, it's not one of her like amazing artworks. It's not what she really dedicated her time to. It was just, she just probably did it in one day, because I was obsessed with Coca-Cola at one point. Like, I wanted my room to have this whole vintage theme, and I was like, Mom, can you please make me a Coca-Cola painting? And she was like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, just did it like in one day. So it's special because it's something that she made for me, but again, I just want to like humble brag. It's like she can do way, like the stuff she actually does is like, it'll blow your mind away. First off, I just want to, I don't know, I don't like labeling things, but I'm just gonna, if I had to give it 3 words, I guess I would say maybe calming. You know, this place has a lot of natural light, and we chose the nice blue colors, and I feel like we just made kind of this like zen place in here after a long day. You look forward to coming home. It's not like, oh my goodness, I have to go home and like clean this place. No, it's a nice vibe to come home to at the end of the day. The second word I would use is maybe minimalistic, because I think Jen and I kind of both have the same taste in general. You know, we both kind of had the vision for the place was like not a lot of clutter and just very like chilled. Like, everything has its place. It's very easy to manage. We don't have too much stuff. I feel like we have just the right amount of stuff. And the third word, I know you're supposed to like say, you know, all the typical stuff about a house, like, yeah, it's your safe space to come home to. Like, I feel like that goes without being said, you know. Lastly, I would kind of just say it's functional, because Jen and I, like, we kind of just have our dynamic and like a routine of like who washes dishes and cleans. Like, we split up the chores pretty well, and we were both pretty independent, you know. Coming here, we knew how to do our own laundry and cook for ourselves, so like there was never that big adjustment period where we were like, no, I don't know how to do this. I feel like we run a good household. Actually, sorry, I just want to mention that for someone who spends as much time in this chair as I do, like, I really hate this chair. It's super uncomfortable. I need to get one of those ergonomic chairs or something. Anyway, I digress. So how Jen and I became roommates, pretty simple actually. We were in high school together, like pretty much from the start of high school to the end, and we just became best friends there. And we always kind of joked about, you know, living together while we studied, or at the very least studying at the same university, but it's always like that, will it happen, won't it happen kind of thing, because we like to talk about things as if they'll happen in the future, but very rarely does it happen that way. And I don't know, we both applied to Stellenbosch, and we kind of right off the bat, it was like not even, I don't even think there was ever a big discussion of, Keara, do you want to move in with me kind of thing. It was just like, oh, we're getting a place together. And it's, you know, people were like, no, you shouldn't move in with someone who's your friend because you guys are gonna like clash. But for the most part, I'd say we have done pretty well with, you know, just coexisting together and having a good dynamic in the house, and it's definitely brought us closer together. And it's very surreal. Like, sometimes I think like, oh, I'm living with my best friend, and it's, I
almost can't believe it. Like, it's very different from living with a family member, because like kind of when you grow up with family, they're always there. It's never this, like, you never question it. But it's very different, you know, going from seeing someone mostly every day but never really being in their space, to then actually being in their space. And we are in each other's spaces quite a lot, and by that I mean, if I'm studying, she'll come jump on my bed and annoy me, and if she's editing photos, I'll go jump on her bed and annoy her. That's one of the things.
Last year, around August, September, we flew down for a weekend from Pretoria, and we had scheduled like a whole bunch of meetings with estate agents and viewings of places. We were busy pretty much the whole day, and every place we went to was just like another disappointment. We were getting pretty discouraged by the end of the day because nothing we had found was some place we could see ourselves living at. So we had one more place to look at, and Jen and I were kind of like, is it even worth it? Like, I don't know. We weren't very keen, but my dad was like, no, let's just go check it out. And then we like drive in, and we're like, okay, we like the look of this place. Looks like we're kind of cautiously optimistic, and then we walk in and we're like, yes, this is the place. We can definitely see ourselves in here. Like, I think as soon as we walked in and we like took a quick look of the place, and like both Jen and I had these like massive grins on our faces. We were just like, yes, yes, yes. So yeah, this is the last place we looked at, and yeah, we immediately were like, yeah, this is it. We don't even need to look at other places. Okay, so if I had to choose a favorite place in the apartment, I would kind of just say this general area, like kitchen / living room, a communal space kind of thing. It's where Jen and I will make food, usually rotate, like one will make food one night and the other one will make food the next night. Like whatever kind of works. It's also where like if we have dinners, we'll like sit in the living room and watch series together. And it's where like a lot of the ridiculous antics and laughing has happened. It's also like if we have guests, that's where we'll like chill. So like good memories associated with this area of the house, and yeah, it's like a space where you can be social. So the memory jar was Jen's idea. She actually comes up with most of the good ideas in this house. So basically how it works is, if anything funny happens or if anything special happens, we'll write it down and put it in here. Or if one of us just says something really funny or memorable, again, it'll go in the memory jar. And the idea is that at some point in the future we take it out and reflect on the year that we've had. Because you forget about things unless you like have something that brings back that memory. So I'm gonna go in here and see if there's anything worth mentioning. Just technically I'm not supposed to do this, so don't tell Jen. I'm sorry, Jen, if you're watching this. Okay, that's not relevant. Let's see. Not all of these are gonna be like funny. Some of them are just special to us. Let's see. And some of them are a bit personal as well. Okay, this one might not even make sense, but it's a quote from Jen. I think we were talking about overreacting, and then she said, as long as you react within the limits of my reaction, then you're fine. This is an interaction that happens quite regularly in this house, in which Jen goes, Keara, would you like some coffee or tea? And then I go, yes. And then Jen's like, which one do you want? Because I always just say yes, instead of saying, I would like some tea, please. This is quite a nice one. It's not funny, but I just said, and it's quite memorable, a shower is always good after a cry. It's like
you're showering your soul with the cry and then your body with the shower. Okay, I'm gonna stop. This is the last one. So we were both scrolling through Tinder and then a guy popped up holding a dog, and then I was like, aw. No, Jen was like, aw, and then I was like, you'd be surprised how many dogs put guys on their profiles to get girls to swipe right. And I'm gonna end it on that one and put these back. Sorry, Jen, I went through the memory jar. So this is another thing that's very special to me. Like I said, my mom was an artist, and these are basically prints of her paintings, and they don't, you know, when I was saying the Coca-Cola painting doesn't do it justice, you know, this kind of gives you a better idea of that, because this is what the type of work that she normally would have done. And these are like very small prints now, but in reality they're these massive oil paintings with like intricate details. And yeah, this is, I might end up putting these on my walls, but for now they're just sort of something that I have stacked away that I take out every once in a while to look at. But you know, you can really get the idea that she just had this crazy wild imagination, and I love, you know, the surreal vibe that her paintings have, you know, kind of, I mean, you've got fish like floating around in midair, and I think her style has influenced mine in a lot of ways, but at the same time hers is so unique. I mean, I don't think I could ever live up to this. I don't know how she came up with all her ideas, but this is another very special part of my room that I'm glad I have with me here in Stellenbosch. Another special thing about these paintings is I was like there for most of the time that they were being made. You know, I saw them start off as sketches and get turned into this. So it's not, when I look at them, I'm not just seeing the finished product, I'm also seeing, I can kind of remember the journey of the painting. And even though they're similar, if you take them on their own, they're like, it can stand on its own as its own thing. The photos here are pretty much all of my mom. She passed away in April this year. So this is, it's like a big part of my room, and it's also kind of private, you know, like you don't see it if the door is open. You only see it if I'm like on my bed and the door is closed, which is kind of like a special like thing just for me, which is what I like about it. And these photos are, I love these photos, first of all. I had them before she passed away. I had them on my walls even. And basically they're most of them are before she had us, when she was younger. And like, if you just look at it, her style, like her whole vibe, I just love that about her. She was like a super cool mom. And I think if I met her when she was that age, like we would have been friends, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's an important, like, I think I have it here to, you know, to bring out the good memories, but also just to keep her, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just gonna like gather myself again. I didn't think I'd get emotional, but I am. So I have these photos here to just keep the good memories intact and also just keep that connection there, I think. And yeah, it's very special. Very personal thing for me. And I think this collage of happy memories is important because I get wrapped up in what I'm busy doing, which is studying at the moment. So I do this thing, I can block things out very well and just focus on the immediate future, which is not ideal for this year, you know. There's this personal side that I need to work through, and I think this is a good way to keep me just keep me grounded and keep in touch with that personal side. It's one of the things that helps, at least, and that's another reason why this is so special to me. I guess at heart I'm still a pretty sentimental person, and this is just it. For me, it sums my mom up pretty well. You've got, you know, the strong, don't care what anyone thinks kind of side of her, and you can see the artistic side of her and the happiness, and also like some of them, you know, she comes across as pretty lonely, which is also like it was a part of who she was. And yeah, a lot of people also say I look like my mom, so I don't know if it's true, but it's like having a little piece of her here, which is the whole point. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Reza. She's gonna have loads of these videos coming out, and I'm very excited to see what other videos she brings out. I love watching people's homes and like getting to know them and their space. So yeah, and goodbye.